let's continue here by looking at these new Sorcerer Spells, Metamagic Options and Features. So a lot of new stuff for the Sorcerer right here. So starting up here at the top, they look at the additional Sorcerer Spells. And notice they have got a nice little group of additions here. So at Cantrip, there's Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade, Lightning Lure, Mind Sliver, and Sword Burst. A couple of those you may have heard of before. First level, you got Grease and Tasha's Caustic Brew. Second level, Flame Blade, Flaming Sphere, Magic Weapon, and Tasha's Mind Whip. Third level, Intellect Fortress, Vampiric Touch. Fourth level, Mind Shield. Fifth, Bigby's Hand. Sixth, Flesh to Stone, Odalix Freezing Sphere, and then Tasha's Otherworldly Guise. Tasha been busy adding spells. Seventh level, Dream of the Blue Veil. 8, Demiplane, and 9, Blade of Disaster. So that's a nice little group of spells being added. Again, some of those you may have heard of before, but some of those you probably haven't. But before we get to the spells, look at these new Metamagic options. So at level 3 right here, you got a couple of new choices. One of them is called Seeking Spell. If you make an attack roll for a spell and miss, you can spend 2 sorcery points to re-roll the d20, and you must use the new roll. You can use Seeking Spell even if you have already used a different Metamagic option during the casting of the spell. So if you miss, get to re-roll your d20. Considering that's burning 2 sorc points, I think that's a bit high. One would have been better. For burning 2 sorc points as DM, I'd give them at least an extra +2 or +3 to that die roll every time they burned a couple of sorc points. If you got an idea on that, how you think you ought to handle it, let me know at the bottom in the comments. So after Seeking Spell, we got Transmuted Spell, another Metamagic option. When you cast a spell that deals a type of damage from the following list, you can spend 1 sorcery point to change that damage type to one of the other listed types. So if you need to change a damage type, 1 sorc point will do it. It's a great idea. Sometimes you have sort of a favorite high damage spell, but it may not do the type of damage you need at the moment. So of course you can change it to acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, or thunder. I think that's interesting they put poison in there. Next year, our 4th level sorcery feature is Sorceress Versatility. When you reach a level in this class that grants the ability score improvement feature, you can do one of the following. Representing the magic within you flowing in new ways. So it says one of the following here. First, replace one of the options you chose for the Metamagic feature with a different Metamagic option available to you. So swap a Metamagic feat. Next, replace one cantrip you learned from this class's spellcasting feature with another cantrip from the Sorcerer Spell list. As DM, I'd let them do both instead of just one. And then 5th level Sorcerer feature, Magical Guidance. You can tap into your inner wellspring of magic to try and conjure success from failure. When you make an ability check that fails, notice it doesn't specify one, but any, you can spend 1 sorcery point to re-roll the d20, and you must use the new roll, potentially turning the failure into a success. So if you got a big ability check and you just failed it, that's definitely going to be worth that 1 sorcery point. So let's look at these new spells. Again, there's a lot of them added for the Sorcerer. So we start up here with Blade of Disaster, 9th level Conjuration. 1 bonus action, 60 feet, concentration up to 1 minute. You create a blade-shaped planar rift about 3 feet long in an unoccupied space you can see within range. The blade lasts for the duration. When you cast this spell, you can make up to 2 melee spell attacks with the blade, each one against a creature, loose object, or structure within 5 feet of the blade. On a hit, the target will take 4d12 force damage. This attack scores a critical hit if the number on the d12 is 18 or higher. So 18, 19, or 20 is going to be a crit. On a critical hit, the blade deals an extra 8d12 force damage for a total of 12d12. So again, you get 2 melee attacks. That could possibly be 24 d12s in force damage. That's big. As a bonus action on your turn, you can move the blade up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see, and then make up to 2 melee spell attacks again. The blade can also harmlessly pass through any barrier, including a wall of force. So that could be a total of 4 attacks, 4 crits for 48 D12. Boy, that could be big. Under this, we have Booming Blade, Evocation Cantrip right here. You brandish the weapon used in the spell's casting and make a melee attack with it against one creature within 5 feet of you. On a hit, the target suffers the weapon attack's normal effects, and then it becomes sheathed in booming energy until the start of your next turn. If the target willingly moves 5 feet or more before then, the target takes 1d8 thunder damage and the spell ends. So you can get your normal melee attack, then if that creature, whatever it is, moves, an additional 1d8. This spell's damage increases when you reach certain levels. At 5th level, the melee attack deals an extra 1d8 thunder, so that's something added to it that you didn't have before, to the target if you hit it, and the damage the target takes for moving goes up from 1 to 2d8. Both damage rolls increase by another d8 when you hit level 11, so it'd be 2 for the hit, 3 for the move. And then again at level 17 for an extra 3d8 on the hit and 4d8 on the moves. That really starts to add up. Then down here we have Dream of the Blue Veil. 7th level Conjuration. Casting time 10 minutes. That's a long one. Duration 6 hours. You and up to 8 willing creatures within range fall unconscious for the spell's duration and experience visions of another world on the material plane, such as is that Orth, Toriel, Kryn, or Eberron. If the spell reaches its full duration, the visions conclude with each of you encountering and pulling back a mysterious blue curtain. The spell then ends with you mentally and physically transported to the world that was in the vision. To cast this spell, you must have a magic item that originated on the world that you wish to reach, and you must be aware of the world's existence, even if you don't know the world's name. So you got to have a magic item from that world and know of its existence. Your destination in the other world is a safe location within 1 mile of where the magic item was created. So the magic item pretty much determines where you go to in that world. Alternatively, you can cast the spell if one of the affected creatures was born on the other world, which causes your destination to be a safe location within 1 mile of where the creature was born. So either where the magic item came from or where the creature was born at. The spell ends early on a creature if that creature takes any damage and the creature isn't transported. If you take any damage, the spell ends for you and all the other creatures with none of you being transported. So a big transport spell being added right there. So next here we have Green Flame Blade, Evocation Cantrip. You brandish the weapon used in the spell's casting and make a melee attack with it against one creature within 5 feet of you. On a hit, the target suffers the weapon attack's normal effects, and you can cause green fire to leap from the target to a different creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of it. The second creature takes fire damage equal to your spell casting ability modifier. So you're going to hit one creature and then cause green fire to leap to a second one, doing damage. This spell's damage increases when you reach certain levels. At 5th level, the melee attack deals an extra 1d8 fire to the target on a hit, and the fire damage to the second creature increases to 1d8 plus your spell casting ability modifier. So you get an extra 1d8 to each of them at level 5. Both damage rolls increase by 1d8 at level 11, meaning 2 and 2, so a total of 4 there, and 17th level 3 and 3 for a total of 68. Next we have Intellect Fortress, 3rd level Abjuration here. So up here we see Concentration, 1 hour is the duration. For the duration, you or one willing creature you can see within range has resistance to psychic damage as well as advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. So if the mind flayers are around, you'll want this one right here. At higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 4th level or higher, you can target one additional creature for each slot level above 3rd. The creatures must be within 30 feet of each other when you target them. So very good at resisting psychic and getting advantage on 3 of your saves. Next we have Lightning Lure, Evocation Cantrip. You create a lash of lightning energy that strikes at one creature of your choice that you can see within 15 feet. The target must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pulled up to 10 feet in a straight line toward you and then take 1d8 lightning damage if it's within 5 feet of you. This spell's damage increases by 1d8 when you reach 5th level, so then it'll be 2d8. At level 11, 3d8, and 17, 4d8. So some nice little extras right there as you power up. Right here they look at the Mind Sliver. And again, look at the artwork they do. Just amazing here. See, this is an enchantment cantrip, and this is one of the best cantrips by far. Here you're going to drive a disorienting spike of psychic energy into the mind of one creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw, so go against the low intel guys, or take 1d6 psychic damage, and look at this, and subtract 1d4 from the next saving throw that it makes before the end of your next turn. So you give it psychic damage and then a minus to its next saving throw. That is huge for a cantrip. This spell's damage will increase by 1d6 when you reach certain levels. So at 5th level, that's going to be 2d6. At 11, 3. And 17th level, 4d6 right there. So great artwork going around along with the Mind Sliver. So next right here, we move down to the Sword Burst. Conjuration Cantrip. You create a momentary circle of spectral blades that sweep around you. All other creatures within 5 feet must make a dexterity saving throw or take 1d6 for damage. So think if the caster is surrounded, all the creatures within 5 feet are going to take 1d6 force damage. So that could add up really well. The spell's damage increases by 1d6 when you reach 5th level. So then it'll be 2d6 total. At level 11, it'll be 3d6, 17, 4d6. Considering if an individual is surrounded, that's a great spell. Next here we have one of Tasha's Caustic Brew. 1st level evocation spell. A stream of acid emanates from you in a line 30 feet long and 5 feet wide in a direction you choose. Each creature in that line must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or be covered in acid for the spell's duration or until a creature uses its action to scrape or wash the acid off itself or another creature. So considering this lasts for a full minute, they're going to do some scraping and washing. A creature covered in that acid is going to take 2d4 acid damage at the start of each of its turns. At higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher, the damage increases by 2d4 for each slot above 1st. So at 9th level, that's a lot of d4s. Then right here, we have Tasha's Mind Whip, 2nd level enchantment. You psychically lash out at one creature you can see within range. The target must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the target will take 3d6, so that's pretty good, psychic damage, and it can't take a reaction until the end of its next turn. So you're also limiting its reaction. Moreover, on its next turn, it must choose whether it gets a move, an action, or a bonus action. It gets only one of the 3. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage and suffers none of the spell's other effects. At higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher, you can target one additional creature for each slot level above 2nd. The creatures must be within 30 feet of each other when you target them. A lot of information going on with that one. And then lastly right here, we've got Tasha's Otherworldly Guise, 6th level transmutation. Casting time, just one bonus action. It's going to cost you 500 gold and last up to a minute. So here we see uttering an incantation. You draw on the magic of the lower planes or the upper planes. You got to choose one or the other to transform yourself. You gain the following benefits until the spell ends. So first of all, you're immune to fire and poison if you pick the lower plane, radiant or necrotic if you pick the upper. Second here, you're immune to the poison condition if you pick the lower, or the charm condition if you pick the upper. Third thing, spectral wings appear on your back, giving you a flying speed of 40. Next, you have a +2 bonus to armor class, so a lot of things are happening with this spell. Next right here, all your weapon attacks are magical, and when you make a weapon attack, you can use your spell casting ability modifier if that's what you want, instead of the strength or dexterity for the attack and damage. Lastly, you can attack twice instead of once when you take the attack action on your turn. You ignore this benefit if you already have a feature like extra attack that lets you attack more than once when you take the attack action on your turn. So a lot of things happening, but then again, that is a 6th level spell. So there's all those new sorcerer spells. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.